So we are going to move straight into the next series, which is actually going to be a TVT, Darkmatter versus Kenzanki. Kenzanki? I don't actually know how to pronounce that guy's name.
Oh yeah, I haven't casted him before. He casts as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he just joined the casting team. I think he did his first cast last week, if I'm not mistaken. And he actually in
I
the
think he's
caster
got
channel.
a variety of names.
Yeah, he does have. He has a slash quite a few names. I'm just gonna call him Kenzanki until told otherwise. But in the caster channel, he actually told me not to cast this, so I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
You get a lot of people in CPL just begging that their games aren't casted, but honestly, it's a game review, it's a learning opportunity. You know, even if you're not super proud of what happens in the game, hopefully me and Avon can give you some info that is useful.
And so, okay, here, I'll say his name. In the bottom right, our yellow Terran, we've got Kenzaki.
And in the left side of the map, we have Darkmatter.
Okay, so I caught something. It might be a little early, but maybe it's something he didn't like. Is that he started his one of his SCVs and canceled it halfway through?
Oh, really? I did not notice that. That is a mistake. There is a.
I doubt that's the reason he didn't want us to cast it.
Yep. You know, Brew War's such a complicated game. It's really tough sometimes to call things just total mistakes and just bad. But something like that is just a mistake. You should never do that. I'm sure he knows.
Yeah. I doubt he was cutting in SCV for his build after starting it.
Yeah, super special tactics, deciding to go for a different supply depot count than normal. We're just going to cut SCVs for a faster supply depot. But we do have a TVT here, and it's on Crossing Field, so we could be in for a long match here, honestly. I don't know how this is going to go. Dark, in general, is definitely a strong player, and he's very strong TVT. I think that's one of his stronger matchups, to be honest.
And yeah, I've casted him a couple times. He seems like a strong player.
Yeah, he tends to go for aggressive TVT play as well. And TVT is one of those games where, you know, it can last forever with a map split that just no one can cross the tank lines. But if there's some sort of an early attack and your opponent gets units like on your production or at your natural, there's nothing you can do about it. Like they're ranged, you can't micro against it.
13 CC at the back. I guess he had a couple extra minerals.
Well, 13 CC if you cut an SCV halfway.
So yeah, we've got CC first. Rack's about to come up. We've got a more conventional build coming out of Darkmatter. The barracks and the gas right off the bat.
Yeah, and I think 14cc, especially versus Terran, is not that uncommon, and especially on a map like this, where you can protect it with a full wall in. Dark's going to come up and see this wall. I guess it's not really a full wall in, is it?
Yeah, but the kind of units that people are going to be sending in a TVT are not going to fit through.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't run by with vultures or anything here. So, yeah, it definitely can be a very strong build. It's just how risky is it?
Now Dark is going to see the gas timing, and he should have seen the health on that barrack, so he knows that this is some sort of 14cc. Unless that's maybe like the second barracks and this is some weird cheese. So that's the reason he's not really sending that SCV all the way down to confirm. His SCV just being as annoying as possible, but really SCV versus SCV, you know, they have the same amount of health. They don't have the normal advantage when they're harassing other things. So Dark is going to sort of play this with his own expansion after Factory.
The SCV making this first Factory is really low on health, if it gets noticed.
It's 1 health. That was the super harassed one. That's kind of crazy. That would have been a great snipe, but Kenzanki gets away with it.
Yeah, hard to notice that one as you're trying to get your SCV out of the base.
Absolutely. So we do have the barracks floating across, a single Marine produced, so you know, Dark realizes that he's not going to be under any pressure, can skimp on any defenses, and first tank is going to come out from him shortly.
So technically, I would think this build, the wave we started actually would favor Kanzaki a bit because he's unpunished. Obviously, Darkmatter's gonna have quicker tech. He could get into like a starport for a quick drop or something.
Yep.
But,
so this is sort of the classic mirror divergence of econ versus tech. So Dark's gonna have a window where he's gonna have to get something done, because if he doesn't, Kanzaki's econ is just gonna hand him the game. Looks like his decision is to go 2 facts behind this, and that was fully scouted by Kanzaki, so he should be able to defend against this. You know, with that that ramp up the cliff and full knowledge of what's going on.
And we do have the scouting barracks floating in, which is not something that Kanzaki is going to be able to do. With only one, okay, we do have a second marine being made, probably to take out this scouting barracks a little faster.
Yeah, and also you kind of want a few marines if you know that your opponent's going to have more units. Like, he knows that there's a 2-rex or a 2 fact behind this, so just being able to pump out a couple of marines to be able to survive any sort of initial push is probably a great idea, because all he has to do is not take damage, and he's got that econ advantage. And we do have a pretty aggressive move out from Darkmatter here. A couple SCVs coming along with this, and we're going to have rally tanks and vultures. So he's looking to set up some sort of a contain.
We do have siege mode about to just finished for Kanzaki, and he has 1 tank sitting there.
Yep, that tank is going to be integral to this defense. But being sieged on the high ground should be a pretty solid position. I don't really think Dark's going to do much more damage than just contain this ramp. But on this map, that's actually pretty significant, because that means anytime you're trying to push out, you're either going to have to ferry with dropships or take a lot of losses.
And we've got a bunker coming up from Darkmatter right here.
Oh, so he's committing.
Even more annoying. Yeah. It'll be, yeah, this could be a hard contain, especially if he gets his own siege tanks and some mines.
Yeah, this is a tough thing to deal with if you're Kanzaki. So, he's able to be defended. Like, there's no risk of him dying. But what's he going to do in this mid-game situation? Dark is going to have basically full map control minus wraiths and dropships, which is much easier to defend against versus, full ground army. So he's going to be able to take his own bases uncontested, whereas Kanzaki is going to be stuck on 2 bases, and his aggressive potential is severely limited.
We actually do have the racks went down, so until Darkmatter builds another one, he can't build any additional factories.
Yep, that is a nice win. Kanzaki realizes he's being contained and is going to go for a triple starport. So it's going to be 3 starport wraith, basically just not even contesting the ground game at all.
Interesting. Yeah, this is a we have a couple Goliaths, but nothing.
Ooh, but he's pushing out. I see this first tank, he's actually just gonna get sacrificed if he's not careful. I don't like this move. If you're gonna go triple starport behind this, you just gotta give up the ground game.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of losses. I think there's 1 tank remaining. You're perfectly safe up your ramp. Your CC isn't halfway done. There's no reason to take these losses. And now there's actually going to be a pretty unbreakable position. He's going to get the bunker, it looks like, so that's a mistake from Dark to let that go down. But there's only a single marine in there anyway.
Ooh, yeah, now we've got the tank going down.
Yeah, so he lost about 5 siege tanks for a bunker, and maybe an SCV, I don't even know. He didn't take much. Trying to 3 starport behind this means that basically he can't reproduce those gas tank units.
Well, he was producing 2 tanks, but so he has those. But he really should just camp these at the top of the. I don't know why he's pushing them down again.
Yeah, this is ambitious. That's 2 tanks versus 4 tanks, 2 Goliaths, and 2 vultures.
Really, there's nothing even up the ramp for Kanzaki at this point. The Darkmatter could just aim these tanks while they're on siege like this and take them out.
Yeah, it looks like he just really wants to try to secure his 3rd, but you can't do everything at once. 3 starport plus an aggressive move out while expanding, like that is too much.
He might be better off going for a sneaky just float his 3rd over to the left try to build some SCVs to mine from there and get a dropship or something.
No, I think that'd be a great move, to be honest, because Dark is gonna.
SCVs.
Oh wow, he's trying to break it. This is very aggressive. Dark's actually targeting tanks, so these SCVs are being largely ignored by the tank fire.
Oh man.
And they're trading heavy here. Yeah, a lot of SCVs go down, and the contain is not yet broken.
And tanks are still getting pumped out, and you've got 3 Starport Wraith coming out of Darkmatter.
So, has a single Wraith been made for Kanzaki? It doesn't look like it.
No. Okay, we have a battle cruiser coming out.
I don't know what to say about that one. There's no way he's rich enough to go 3 Starport battlecruiser. That's
We've got 4 more tanks coming up. And these are +1. Okay, they're +1 tanks against +1, but they siege quicker.
Yeah, and
Wraiths coming in.
I mean, this point, this location is lost again, and there's the GG. Yeah, that was just too much at once. Kanzaki wanted it all, and he got nothing. You know, if you're gonna commit to 3 starports, then you better make Wraiths and try to be aggressive with them. If you make 3 starports,
because otherwise you should have just gone 5 fac or something.
Exactly. You know, if you wanted to break a contain with a ground force to secure your 3rd, you know, don't make the starports. So I think that was just sort of a wishy-washy build out from Kanzaki, and he paid the price.
He probably saw that the turret's already up, the bunker up. He thought my Wraiths aren't going to do that great against that. But he could have, if he had built those Wraiths, he could have sent them over to this left side of the map where there's no anti-air. And if you have Cloak, then he can just harass these, force Goliaths back from Darkmatter, force Goliath production, and then there's less reinforcement for, you know, this contain. And then so try to break it, something like that.
Yeah, that would have been a decent option. I think if you know you're getting contained, a Wraith follow-up is just not really a good solution unless you're going to be trying to be aggressive with them, period. Because you can't expect to break a contain with Wraiths. You know, you can only do that if your opponent screws up.
Or he could have gone for like a dropship ferry, like to the left, and try to like sandwich the contain, something like that.
Yeah, one of the advantages you get when your opponent goes for a heavy contain is that they kind of assume they have map control. So if you take them off guard with the dropship ferry, then you can get a really strong position somewhere that they're just not prepared for. So I think both of those ideas would have been better.
Just something when you're building those starports, you need to use them.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was well committed. So that.
And then I thought it was interesting that we saw 3 starports immediately coming out of Darkmatter as well. After the contain. So even then, it's sort of like Darkmatter builds the 3 starports and uses them.
Right. No, I mean Darkmatter had Wraiths first, you know, which is surprising. But a Wraith follow-up makes a lot of sense when you have a contain because you already have general map control, and then the Wraiths give you air control, so you basically control the entire map.
I think it is a little, you know, TVT is a hard matchup. It's easy to nitpick the mistakes there.
TVT is a very difficult matchup with the most openings. We'll have to see in set 2 here if Kanzaki can tie it up, and we do have Kanzaki as the white Terran in the bottom left corner of Fighting Spirit.
And we've got Darkmatter in the bottom right corner. The blue Terran, winner of game 1.
Yep, so it has the most opening variation, you know, the most viable openings possible. It is a really crazy matchup. I think the difference in that game was really Darkmatter came in with a game plan and stuck with it, and it looked like Kanzaki was just trying to react to what happens, but he wasn't doing it in a cohesive way. He was probably taking a little off guard. So whenever you have a game situation which you're not fully comfortable with, you still have to fully commit to a decision.
Yeah, the decisiveness is a big thing that you see in any top player. No wishy-washiness.
Yeah, because even if you make the wrong decision, making the wrong decision with 100% effort still has potential for success. Whereas if you make two okay decisions halfway, then they're both gonna fail.
Yeah. Whatever you're choosing, you just need to go with it.
So this is an interesting supply depot position. Actually down ramp, gonna start all wall at his natural. So I can only assume this means he's gonna take a really fast expansion behind this. Meanwhile, Dark is gonna have the SCV boosting supply depot, get his SCVs to spawn a little close to the minerals, and then he's gonna build a racks close to his cliff, likely gonna just float it over for more scouting soon.
Yep, and a gas right after that, and a cross scout from Kenzaki.
Yeah, and Kenzaki banking minerals, so he's gonna go for another fast CC. And to be honest, he got away with that part. I think you know, his build in the first few minutes of the game did put him ahead of Dark. So there's no real reason not to go for this, except that this is a lot less safe being fighting spirit rather than crossing fields.
Yeah, being low ground, not being high ground with the choke. He can still block off any sort of early vultures with like the racks, but we'll have to see whatever the early build from Darkmatter is. Because last time he sort of went factory into, well, no, he went racks into CC. Racks gas into CC. So
right.
It was sort of just a middle of the road build. But if he committed to something a little more aggressive, we could see that punish Kenzaki.
Yep, so the first factory is underway for Darkmatter. Meanwhile, Kenzaki just starting to mine his own gas. So that gives you an idea of the timing for his own factory. And actually, he's not going to be gas limited on that factory. His barracks is going to be the limiting factor. That seems late to me. As a follow-up to the 14cc.
Yeah, it does seem a little late. Actually, if obviously, it's hard for Darkmatter to know unless scouted already. But if he wanted to, he could push across with these couple Marines and put a little pressure on.
Yeah, Kenzaki's going to get away with this just because Dark did scout the wrong direction. So this is going to be the last scout. And by the time he can get over here, there should be defenses. Gonna lift that barracks just so he can get all of his SCVs back home. And now Dark's gonna see the location of everything, gonna see the timing, and I would assume that that's enough information for him to know this was started as a 14cc. Second rack's coming out as well, so Dark is not opting to go for some sort of economic catch-up with like a 1-fact expand. He is gonna put on the pressure with 2-fact.
I thought you said second racks coming up, and
Oh yeah, we're gonna go deep 6.
Yeah, I was thinking, not sure about that one.
That
But,
would be kind of cool, but not what we're gonna see this game.
Well, yeah, it's hard to push with Marines into a bunker, no matter how many you've got.
Yeah, bunkers are pretty good units. We do have that factory out now, but if we look, Kenzaki actually has 400 gas. So this is, I just don't think that this is the proper way to do this build. I don't know my TVT builds very well, but anytime you see 400 gas in the early game, that means you got your gas too early or your other buildings too late.
Because also he starts mining the second gas right off the bat. Seems a little early, but yeah, we've got the one factory with the. Ooh, okay, we've got like a little bit of a push coming up here from Darkmatter with the one tank, a couple SCVs, and some Marines. He might think that if we've got this barracks lifted, he could do something.
Yeah, there's only like a single Marine in this bunker. Oh, and he's got siege mode as
this is
well.
a siege. Yeah, this is a siege tank.
Yeah, so even if he's not able to kill the bunker, he's just going to bleed SCVs. And will Kenzaki actually get the army to defend against this? He's not even repairing that bunker. So, I mean, he's not producing more Marines. He's going to rely entirely on factory reinforcements behind this. But the first tank isn't even out.
Yeah, and siege mode is about 60-70% done. But the one Marine comes up. Uh-oh, we've got SCVs coming up to repair the supply depot. But they can be taken out by tanks. Yeah,
at the very least, he's got to give up the natural position. I mean, he can...
a couple Goliaths and a second tank coming to reinforce. He's gonna have to go up his ramp. Yeah, he can't really defend this.
No, he has to defend up the ramp. He's got siege mode. He's actually gonna siege it below ramp. So this is a really risky position. And Goliath's just gonna run in on top of that tank.
Yeah, he needs to.
Oh, he's not even unsieging it. It's going to go down to these 2 Goliaths. It's so close that 1 Goliath gets the kill, and at this point...
he should siege this on ramp.
He's again going down the ramp. He really needed to fall back to the ramp once he lost the initial wall. So
Okay, he does take down a couple SCVs with that shot. Takes down another SCV. He's actually taken down a good amount of SCVs with his... Ooh, the Rax almost goes down.
Yeah,
but these SCVs are just being taken down.
That is a ton of damage, and it's continuing to be damage. You know, he's not going to be able to secure this natural position for a while.
Yeah, he can just take pot shots at this CC. This tank is not defending it, and he can't really. But he needs to lift and just.
He's just going to call GG. Yeah, I think that might have been game-ending damage. It didn't have to be if he had pulled back earlier, like we were saying. When that barracks goes down and you know you don't have a ton of units, you just got to give up the natural and save the SCVs.
And probably just build another factory or something.
He may have been concerned about getting contained again because of game 1, but this is sort of the risk of 14cc. You're leaving yourself open to these windows where your opponent does have more army than you, and Dark is taking advantage of that.
You have to think about, you know, that isn't possible on the map we were just on, because he was able to expand to that back natural. It's so much more risky here.
Absolutely.
Where you can push this down ramp front natural. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's much easier than it would be on crossing field.